But some suggested this was an internal matter, not an international threat. And the Russian ambassador accused the U.S. of playing politics.
Mr. President, the real reason for convening today's meeting is not an attempt to protect human rights or promote the interests of the Iranian people, but rather as a veiled attempt to use the current moment to continue to undermine the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action.
That's the agreement which restricts Iran's nuclear program, which Mr. Trump says is deeply flawed. He has to decide next week whether to continue waiving sanctions suspended under the deal. Barbara Platt-Usher, BBC News, Washington.
Well, let's speak to Paul Ingram. He's the Executive Director of the non-partisan think tank, the British American Security Information Council, and he joins us now from Eastleigh. Thank you for joining us here on BBC News. First off, what do you think the UN Ambassador, Nikki Haley, hoped to achieve by convening this emergency session on Friday?
Well, I think most immediately she hoped to bring some embarrassment to the Iranian government and to demonstrate the American government's point of view that the Iranian system is rather less stable than the Iranian government would like it to be, and that there is plenty of opposition inside Iran. That is true, it is a fact, but I think in addition to that, the US administration is looking to undermine the Iranian reputation abroad at a very crucial moment. What people don't quite realize is that in the next week or two, the Trump administration will be making a very crucial decision over the future of the Iran nuclear deal. And in this respect, the Trump administration is almost alone. Its only ally in this particular approach to the Iran nuclear deal is Israel. And even they are uncertain about the way the Trump administration is dealing with it. So there is a crucial decision to be made.
Indeed, the Russian ambassador accused the US of trying to undermine that deal. Is the deal at jeopardy?
The deal is certainly at jeopardy. It has the very strong backing of all the other nations directly involved in the deal, including the British, the French, the Russians, the Chinese, and the Germans. The only country that is feeling uncertain about it is the US, and even the Trump administration is very wary about being seen to be the one to actually bring the deal down. So although there's a lot of criticism from Trump, both before being elected and afterwards, about this deal, I think the pressure from the allies has been holding them back from dealing the killer blow. And I think that this particular attempt of using the UN Security Council to bring the Iranian government into disrepute will be is a testing the water, flying the kite to a possible decision in the next week or two to relax to bring the sanctions back into play.
Well, let's just go back to events taking place on Iranian streets. How much of a help or a hindrance is US intervention? I'm talking about Donald Trump's comments on things that are taking place. And really, do the protesters welcome those comments from the US?
Well, the protesters are not a single unified force. There are no identified organisers. Many of them are out on the streets as a result of a very harsh economic situation that they are under. Many of the people out on the streets are young, disenfranchised, and actually have no particular skin in the game when it comes to Iranian politics. And they are making both a political statement and also a very strong economic statement. I think the Americans coming in on it in this way and making a very strong international statement in support of the protesters will certainly and undoubtedly do one thing. It will polarize the situation. It will mean that Iranians themselves will have to make a decision. Do we support the protests that have the support now of the United States and therefore are seen as potentially stoked by international or by American attempts?